Or to this press conference, whose aim or purpose is to appraise the country on the progress of the update exercise of the National Voters Register, which is supposed to be concluded today, and also inform the citizens of this country on the way forward. As we all know, on the 20th of January 2025, a Monday, the Electoral Commission commenced the general update exercise of the National Voters Register and informed the country that today, Monday 10th of February 2025, marks the conclusion of the said exercise. The update exercise is conducted in compliance with Article 61, Clause 1E of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 20 of the Electoral Commission Act. As we have stated before on several occasions, the purpose of the update exercise is to, 1, enable eligible Ugandan citizens of 18 years and above who are not yet registered as voters to do so. Secondly, to enable registered voters who wish to transfer to new voting locations or stations to apply for such transfer. Thirdly, to enable registered voters to check and confirm that their particulars are correct and appear on the voters' register at the voting locations that they indicated during registration or where they voted from in previous elections. Fourthly, to enable students who were registered by NIRA while at school and have since attained the age of 18 years to present their particulars, that is the NIN or National Identification Number, for updating and assignment of a polling station of their choice within their parish of residence or origin. Since the commencement of the update exercise on 20th January this year, members of the Commission, management and staff have been in the field in the different regions of the country, supervising the exercise, monitoring its progress, listening to stakeholders, taking stock of emerging issues, and getting a practical feel and appreciation of the challenges faced, the solutions being applied to address them, and to ultimately inform decision-making. From the field, we have not noticed with satisfaction the enthusiasm with which Ugandans have embraced the update exercise and the support that a wide range of stakeholders are providing to our staff to ensure the success of the update exercise of the National Voters Register. I want to take this moment to also thank our staff in the field who are working tirelessly every day from Monday to Sunday, including weekends, braving the sun and the rain to execute the mandate of the Commission of registering voters and compiling the National Voters Register. So I want to commend the local leaders, particularly the LOC chairpersons, who have done a commendable job, not only mobilizing people to come to the update centers, but also providing verification to those who are registering as first-time voters, as citizens, or those who wish to transfer as residents or originating from the areas. We want to commend LOC chairpersons for the great job we have done, which we have witnessed ourselves. During this period, we have also interacted with and received feedback from several stakeholders, including political leaders, the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, press, civil society organizations, youth groups, and members of the public. These engagements and interactions have given us valuable information on the process or update exercise. In the 21 days since the start of the exercise, commendable progress has been made in registering new voters, effecting transfers for those who wish to change their voting locations, and facilitating those who come to check for the correctness of their particulars, both at the update centers and by visiting the Electoral Commission website. However, we have also received reports and observed ourselves some challenges that have affected the pace of the update exercise, notably the limited number of registration kits from NIRA and their occasional breakdowns due to old age. As we mentioned at the last press conference, the challenge of the kits has tended to slow down the pace of registration and update, causing delays in attending to people in a speedy and expeditious manner. The Commission wishes to note, as we have already informed the country, that a limited number of kits were deployed in the update exercise for registration of voters on a rotational basis in order to reach every would-be voter. To date, update centers throughout the country are still characterized by high numbers of applicants lining up to register as voters or to update their particulars. In fact, before, as I was walking down, I received a call from a member of parliament from one of the constituencies who is down on the ground. They were saying there are huge crowds or numbers of people at one of the centers where he was. Cases of machine breakdowns slowing down the update exercise due to frequent malfunctioning have also been reported. However, in spite of the challenges faced since the commencement of the exercise, as of today, 361,432 new voters have been added to the National Voters Register, while 292,021 applications for transfers have been made. This figure, however, does not include the learners who are registered by NIRA and whose data is still being processed. As you are aware, in 2021, the National Voters Register had 18,103,603 registered voters. Since then, the Voters Register has been updated through voter registration exercises in electoral areas where the Commission has conducted parliamentary and local government council by-elections. Further, the Voters Register has been continuously updated by extracting the voting particulars of citizens who have been registered by NIRA and verified as citizens on a continuous basis, and have provided a preferred polling station either in the parish of origin or parish of residence. As of today, the National Voters Register stands at 19,925,574 voters. As you may have heard and have been reporting, some key stakeholders in the electoral process have requested that more time be given to the update exercise for a comprehensive coverage of eligible citizens to be registered for purposes of voting. The Commission, taking into account its observations in the field and assessment, as well as appeals from stakeholders, among various reasons, has therefore decided to extend the update exercise for a period of 7 days, starting tomorrow, Tuesday, 11th February, and ending on Monday, 17th February, 2025. After which, there will be no further extension. During the extension period, The exercise will continue to be conducted at update stations, starting from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., as has been the case, every day, including weekends. So there will only be one weekend, the next weekend, before the extension expires. So the exercise will take place even on weekend days. Please note that the purpose of this extension is to provide an opportunity to eligible persons who have not been able to get registered between 20th January and 10th February 2025 to do so. And for emphasis, we wish to inform the public to note the following. 1, that this is not a fresh registration of voters, but an exercise geared at enabling Ugandan citizens who have attained the age of 18 years and above, who have never registered as voters, to do so in order to participate in the elections. Secondly, for emphasis again, a registered voter who wishes to transfer to new voting locations shall be able to do so during this extension period. Those who have not yet applied to transfer during the period that ends today have the opportunity to do so in these 7 days going forward. Such a voter who wishes to transfer to a new voting location must present confirmation that he or she originates from or is, at the time of transfer application, a resident of the parish of that new voting location. Such applicants should ensure that they have details of their previous voting location. The third point of emphasis, the Commission has availed the National Voters Register for each polling station at the update center in each parish, so that existing voters can check and confirm their registration status, that is, whether their particulars are well captured in the existing register. Fourthly, at the same time, the registered voters can also verify their voting locations from the Electoral Commission website, ec.or.ug/register. It should be noted that during the ongoing update exercise, the National Voters Register is being updated, and the statistics on voters are therefore bound to change. These statistics keep changing from day to day as and when more voters are captured. The Commission will therefore issue subsequent statistics at key milestones of the 2025-26 general elections roadmap, such as the forthcoming display exercise of the National Voters Register, which is slated to commence in April and end in May of this year. In conclusion, members of the press and dear Ugandans, the Electoral Commission appeals to all eligible persons who are not yet registered as voters and those who wish to apply for transfer of their voting locations or polling stations to use the opportunity provided by this extension of 7 days, strictly 7 days, to do so in order to be able to participate in the 2025 general elections, either as candidates or voters. I thank you for God and my country. Undertake any electoral activity, we do inform the public, and in particular political parties, that the Electoral Commission intends to roll out or to embark on this activity. And our understanding is that since political parties are key stakeholders, they need to know what is going on and be able to mobilize their supporters to be part of this national process. However, at no time has any political party taken over the process or the work of the Electoral Commission. At no time. I have visited, together with my colleagues, a number of update centers in the whole country, and we have not come across any RM party functionary or whichever in charge of the update process. Not at all. But if you have evidence to that effect, you can avail it to us. And I want to assure you that we shall take steps to ensure this is not done. This is a wholly EC-run program in accordance with the law. However, we expect the cooperation of all political parties and other key stakeholders, including you, the media, as you have done. Now, on the budget, Secretary, are you here? He's the man of figures. He talked about the issue of the budget and how we are handling this. On the issue of the Muslim ladies, our sisters in the Muslim faith, yes, I received this complaint as well last week. And our response is that in registering new voters, the criteria we are applying to determine their citizenship is what NIRA put in place. We have not adopted any different criteria or methodology in the registering new first-time voters, since one of the main critical aspects is that you must be a citizen. NIRA has been registering ladies or women of the Muslim faith, and I have not heard that complaint being raised that in doing so, they were asking, say, Hajat here to remove her scarf or hijab, whatever they call it. So I want to say that we have said, and I repeat, if there is any individual update officer who requested or asked a Muslim lady to remove her head cuff, that was wrong. And we are going to send out the message, we have already sent out the message, that please follow the format that NIRA uses in registering citizens, that the same should apply even during this update exercise. Now, on reforms in the electoral laws, I have said time and again, as we talk now, there are existing laws that we are following, governing all electoral activities. However, if the country, through their representatives, feel that there is a need for reform in certain sections of the law governing elections, then the relevant entities should take it up and have those reforms introduced or made. For us as a commission, ours is to receive whatever amendment or whatever enactment of the law governing elections, and we see how to factor their operationalization within the context of our work. The only reason we say that it is preferable that these reforms come out in time, in case they have an impact on the operations of the commission, which have already been conducted within the roadmap that was set out. If a reform does not have an impact, it is easy to accommodate. But if it has an impact to the extent of requiring us to go back and redo what we may have done, then in that case, that reform is likely to disrupt our work and cause financial implications. But for now, it is just speculation. If it comes, what will you do? All I can say that we shall cross that bridge when we get there. Now, Mr. You need clarification. You are registered with NIRA, your voting age. What is your fate? One, if I'm not mistaken, when you go to register as a citizen, let me emphasize this. When you go to register as a citizen with NIRA, I think one of the aspects you are allowed to indicate is where would you prefer to vote from. You have 18 years of age and above, you're a citizen, where do you prefer to vote from? And you indicate that. But even if you don't indicate that, they will still register you as a citizen. Even if you don't indicate at the time of registration with the NIRA as a citizen, they will still register you as a citizen and enter you on the citizens data bank. However, during this update exercise, if now you have made up your mind that since I'm a citizen, I have a national ID confirmed by NIRA, I want to be a voter, you go to the update center, which is in your parish, and you indicate that I want to vote from my parish of residence, I reside in this parish, or I originate from the parish. So it is an opportunity, therefore, for those who are already registered, who did not indicate their preferred polling area or station, to do so during the update exercise. So you are covered. So the same goes with the learners who were captured or who were registered by NIRA during that learners project while they were still at school, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and were confirmed citizens, but not eligible voters since they were not yet of age. Again, as we said, during this update, such learners are at liberty to approach our update center, provide the NIN they were given, the national identification number they were given by NIRA, or national ID they were given by NIRA, and indicate I'm already a confirmed citizen by NIRA. However, now I'm 18 years of age, I want to be a voter. Then that learner will apply to registered at a polling station in a parish of his residence or origin. I think I've clarified that one. There are concerns there cannot be credible elections without a lot of reform in the law. Now, I don't know, the current legal framework is what we utilized in 2021. The question is, were the elections credible or not, on account of the existing legal framework then? Secondly, every electoral cycle, I think we have reforms in the law. For instance, in 2020, the amendments in the Local Government Act of inhabitants in the cities, districts, sub-counties, and parish were increased, except for districts, I think. But for cities, number were improved. So that reform came when we had already concluded demarcations. And I think we're heading to or beyond. So we could those reforms in the number of inhabitants in electoral areas like the cities and so on. So my view is, as we endeavor, it is our undertaking to deliver a credible election within existing legal framework in spite of challenges pointed out by other people. That, in my view, is a given task and responsibility on the part of the Commission, that yes, whereas people say that there is need for reform, but are you as a Commission prepared and in position to deliver a free and fair election as required by the Constitution within the existing legal framework? And I want to say unequivocally, yes, we can. Government cannot be deliberately frustrating our efforts. First of all, the government of Uganda is one which singularly funds the electoral processes. Singularly. I've not heard of anybody who has given us money, say, have dollars, and you put in your election. The government singularly, what's wrong with this thing? Singularly funds all the activities of the Electoral Commission. That cannot be a sign of frustration on the part of government. Some stations having no staff, no kids. You remember, as we, owing to the inadequate number of kits, we could not deploy a kit permanently for those 21 days. We are using the 2,703 basis. We are using 2,703 on rotational basis. We are saying that yes, whereas there is a challenge as far as the number of kits is concerned, but we can still, using this process of rotation, be able to reach the voters. And we went out the field. That process has been working well. The citizens in a particular area are informed well in time that, look, this kit will now be in this parish on these days. Then from there it moves to another area, and so on and so forth. And mind you, update is not based on polling stations. Update is premised or based on parishes. It is the display of the register that will be premised or based at polling stations. I want to make this clarification. The update process is not premised on polling stations or at polling stations, but at parish level. It is the display process that will be conducted at every polling station when the time comes. So, those areas where you may have gone and not found the staff, yes, because they are rotating. And each area is aware, each parish is aware that the kit and the staff who are manning that process will be at a parish on such and such a day. We saw that ourselves. Now, the students who have gone back to school, remember when we adjusted, this exercise was supposed to have commenced on the 3rd January this year. But because it was too close to the festive season, that we needed to allow Ugandans to be done with the festivities, and then we adjusted it to the 20th of January. By that, many of our students were still at home, since the new term, I think, commenced, was it around the 3rd or something? So one of the reasons was to allow, so we are still at home, have at least for get a better. So the purpose was to allow or to enable our students who are still at home for the remaining 2 weeks to the end of the holidays to at least approach the update centers and see that they are part of that process. However, we are going to ask our returning officers, our district election administrators rather, who are in the field, probably to link up with the school institutions and find out from the head teachers, are there any students in your institution of 18 years and above, or of voting age, who would like to register as voters? And then our people can make arrangements to get to these institutions and see how these students can also be registered, if they do not turn up in the 2 weeks to the end of their holidays. Now, the link for checking your voting particulars, you want us to make the transfers online? I am not so technically savvy on that one, but I think we would have challenges. Because first of all, we all know that people are found now on what do they call it? Hacking systems. Maybe someone can use your particulars and purport that you want to apply for transfer and go elsewhere. That's why we prefer you to go in person physically to the update center, and you indicate you want to transfer your voting location or polling station. You are given a form, okay, to which form you are supposed to take the LOC of your area to confirm you are a resident in that area, in that parish, or that you originate from that parish, which cannot be achieved online, I think. So I think for practical purposes and for efficacy of the whole outcome of the process, we need people to physically go to these update centers and apply. And that's why we have availed those forms, and that's why the LOCs have been sensitized. And they are ready, and they have been carrying out a good job on confirming citizenship or confirming that you originate from that area. And yeah. If you are to transfer online, you require to, you have to establish that are you the one really making that transfer? You know, anything can happen, online things. Are you the one or some imposter who's doing that to disorient you or disorganize you? So I think we don't want to take that risk at the moment. Mr. Kakumu, if your name is not on the NVR, will you be allowed to vie for any position? Not at all. If you are not on the National Voters Register, then you are not a registered voter. And the law says if you are not a registered voter, 1, you cannot vote for any candidate. 2, you cannot offer yourself for any elective position. 3, you cannot even support any candidate. You can't. You can't support any candidate. You can't vote. You can't offer yourself as a candidate. So that's why we attach great importance to this exercise, to the Ugandans, that please, if you want, it's not enough for you to be part of a huge group, a huge procession following your candidate, or a huge rally of a candidate. If you are not a voter, your show of support only stops at a rally or in the procession. But I'm sure this candidate is interested in your vote, not in your face at a rally. So that's why we are urging Ugandans that turn up in big numbers, go to these update centers, get registered. We have given you an extension now. We've given you an extension. Please, if you miss out on this opportunity of the extension, don't expect any more extension. Because we have other things. Mind you, we had already set other things in motion, or other things to follow. We are eating into the time of that other things, but we are trying to manage it and see, due to high demand, due to great concerns on the numbers and the challenges we have experienced during the update process because of the kids, we are saying, okay, let us extend for another period. But remember, we have other activities waiting. So please, mobilize the Ugandans. Tell them, if you miss out this time, don't blame anybody, but blame yourself. Mr. Sebalu, and the reliability of kits. Regrettably, we have to continue fixing these kits that we have currently. As we mentioned before, NIRA acquired or has acquired new kits, about 5,000, which were supposed to have come earlier for the mass enrollment exercise. Regrettably, these kits came in a bit late when we were already close to the commencement of the update exercise. And given the strict nature of our timelines or time frames and the sequential nature of our activities, in that if you don't do this one, then the next one cannot take place and the other one cannot take place. So we found that we could not afford to wait for NIRA to operationalize these kits, because these are new kits and they have to, I think, they have to be aligned to the new data center of NIRA. So we found in our timelines we could not wait. Otherwise, we are going to jeopardize the other activities. So we have to continue relying on these kits. Our teams are still out in the field trying to fix whatever challenges they get on as when and the need arises. Now, Paul, the use of technology, I don't know. We have so many things which rely on technology. For example, cars and so on. At times they fail, but have we ever refused to use cars and we still buying more cars and relying on them, even when they malfunction? Now, I think the issue is not failing technology. I think the issue is how do you manage an emerging challenge in an electoral process so that you do not lose track of what the Constitution commands us to do, to deliver a free and fair election, which is inclusive, which is transparent. And I think the challenge is this, the challenge of technology notwithstanding, we have not yet veered off course of delivering a free and fair election that is all inclusive. So we shall continue to embrace technology as and when need arises. Now, on the biometric kits in 2021, I think they worked to a very big extent. The challenge we encountered were some of the people, the operators, where some of these kits actually had problems was on account of the operators, who, some of whom were either, you know, students go to class at the same time, same teacher, same hours of teaching. Another one gets 80%, another gets 10%. Now, do you say that the teacher was not teaching well or what? How come the other one got 80% and this one gets 10%? So it's a question of the level of absorption and appreciation, I think. But we found that as a challenge, that maybe some of them had challenges of absorbing appropriately the training that was given to them. Now, when it came to the crucial time of operationalizing the kits, either they were entering wrong codes or logging in wrongly, then they were panicky. The voters were waiting. They started, complaining. Someone will get panicky and he does something on the kit and it malfunctions. But it was not because that the technology was faulty. So we are placing emphasis going forward on the training, the amount of training and the time we spend on training of people who operate these kits. I want to appeal to the people of Uganda to be confident that the technology we are using is necessary, that the challenges are being addressed as and when they emerge or arise. So they need not be scared or skeptical about the adoption of technology by the Electoral Commission in these processes. I want to assure you, at the end of it all, we shall call you maybe again and inform you at the conclusion of the updated exercise. This is the final outcome. And then this data, which we have generated under all those categories which I have enumerated, is going to be gathered from all corners of the country, brought here at headquarters, analyzed, scrutinized, reviewed, processed, and then we come up with the display register. That display register comprising of all these statistics, new voters, the old voters who are already on the register, those who have applied to transfer, the learners who were registered by NIRA while at school, all that data is going to be condensed. And we produce the display register. That display register is going to be circulated to every polling station in the country, every polling station this time. The display register is going to be displayed at every polling station. Again, as I shall be informing the country, it will enable everyone who has not had the opportunity to check on their voting status now to do so. But we would advise, when we bring out this voting display register, let Ugandans again go and check. Now, this is the display register. Is my name there? Is it correctly spelled? Am I at the correct polling station? The display register, this process, will again enable people to check on their voting votability or voting rights, okay? And also, if there are any errors, to enable us point out the errors, either spelling of your name, and we correct those errors. So please, remember that there is still another process that is coming. Really, how do you want the Electoral Commission to be transparent? We are going through all these processes to ensure we have a credible, verifiable register. That's why we're going through all these processes. And the people of Uganda have to be part of each and every activity because it is their register, and these elections are their elections to elect leaders of their choice. I think I've answered all the questions. Thank you.